quelque chose de ma voix.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I'm good, and I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, you can? Good. That's a good thing. It's like we've got a bunch of people signing in. How many do you have registered for today?
We didn't do the registration link, but we've been pushing it out every day with the links, and I just sent out a text message again, so we've got quite a few that are logging on right now.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be right back with you.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Well, we had an 11 o'clock appointment, and it is 11 o'clock. So I do have a few people that are still trickling in, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce Steve Chater. So Steve is a contributor to both the MREA and the MREI, as well as he co-authored Hold, How to Buy and Rent Houses for Wealth. He has helped investors build millions of dollars in wealth, and he can help your clients achieve their real estate goals and dreams as well. So without further ado, Steve, the floor is yours, and I'm here to help you any way I can.
Awesome. Awesome. So what David told me was that that the focus in your market center is to everybody there creating wealth or passive income, what I define as passive income greater than what your expenses are. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And so I'm going to talk to you from two different perspectives today. Number one, you building your business by helping others create financial security. And then at the same time, creating that financial security for yourself. So got a lot of stuff to share. Is somebody going to monitor the chat box or for any questions or anything like that for me?
Yes, Steve, I will do that for you.
You'll do that. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, then I'll focus on what we're talking about. Now, I'm going to go through a bunch of stuff really fast. And I want you to stop if you have questions, because this time is about you. It's not about me going quickly. So everybody comfortable with that? Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so I shared my screen, and so let me just tell you a little bit about myself. In 1976, like 100 years ago, I moved from New York State to Arizona, and I came to Arizona specifically to go to Arizona State University. That was my goal. When I got here, I was putting myself through school, and I found that not only did the tuition increase, but the requirements changed. And somebody said to me, you ought to get into real estate. And I said, well, really, what do you need to do? And I went to real estate school. I got my license in 1977. And what I realized was I didn't know anybody except for the people back in New York. So I actually started building my business by helping people in New York invest in real estate. This is what we looked like in 77. Can anybody tell which one's me? So, okay, a little humor, very little. All right, in 97, 20 years later, I joined Keller Williams. I was the #4 agent in the Phoenix market as far as listings and sales are concerned. I was growing and building a real estate team, and I was actually awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2004, which is really kind of strange because I wasn't even dead yet. So, so as a part of all of this process, we came together, and in the teaser that we did a couple of days ago, I explained to you the story of Christina Martinez in the back of the book and how she did 4 times more business. In other words, way back in 2000, she did $4.3 million in gross commission income by helping a database of only 400 people invest in real estate. That's the reason why the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book was written, so that you and I could do what Christina Martinez did. And Gary Keller and Dave Jenks took a look and said, we've got to write this book to help our people do that. About 4 or 5 years later, we came out with the book Hold. And the book Hold is about the safe, secure method for building wealth with real estate. And while most of the principles and the models for doing real estate were done in the Blue Book and the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, this book was written not only for you to read so that you could get an idea of how growing your wealth, but it's to give to your clients. So you use it as a lead generation tool to talk with them about it. And so for those of you that are taking notes, what I want you to do is I want you to write this down. People grow into the conversation that you create around them. People grow into the conversation that you create around them. Now, this thought came from Susan Scott in her conversations. And what's interesting is we know that with our kids, we try and have a conversation about how to choose the right friends and why they need to go to school and all of those kind of things, and they grow into that conversation. And so what I'm going to suggest is that the conversation that you create around your clients is about building wealth with real estate. And so this is what I do when I'm having fun, and I play bass guitar in a rock and roll band. We're going to be actually playing at our market center next Wednesday. So anyway, my well-rounded life. So building your business by helping your clients create financial security. Now I want to share something with you because I've been doing some off-the-cuff surveys. And I found out that many of the people, especially in the younger generation, don't relate to the word wealth. They see wealth as being something they can't attain, something that Bill Gates has and Warren Buffett and Mark Cuban and Donald Trump and people that are billionaires. But everybody's interested in financial security. And so that's the conversation that I'm creating around my friends, my family, and my clients. And so first thing I want to tell you is leverage your Keller Williams opportunities. We have competitive advantages here. We've got Kelly and Command and inside the Kelly, the referral network. And by the way, people investing in Arizona, you need to be on purpose, in my opinion, about creating your referral network around the United States, using your Command and your Kelly advantage to make that happen, using the Facebook Accelerator to offer investment opportunities, creating investment training. By the way, when they wrote the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, not only did they write the book, but they created the presentation, which you can download for free at Keller Inc. And they created flyers and posters. And here is a seminar in a box that you can be putting on. Keller Mortgage, creating all kinds of opportunity with that. So use your competitive advantages that you've got. inside of Keller Williams, number one. Number two, I'm going to suggest to you, you recreate your GPS, your business plan, and that you include investor seminars or investor conversations into your GPS, and then add it to your 401 so that you're actually measuring how many investor deals do I intend to do this year. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And it starts with how many conversations, how many offers are you writing, because people grow into the conversation you create around them. Those conversations turn into offers on properties. And so again, use the advantages that you've got. Command, the consumer app, Kelly, all of the technology that we have. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it improving daily? Absolutely it is. And so creating that foundation for yourself is absolutely critical. And if you haven't done it yet, you really need to get started. The first thing I want you to do is create a smart plan inside of Command. If you have somebody that says, I want to be an investor, you should have a smart plan that automatically keeps track of them and gives them information. The conversation you're creating around them doesn't have to be just you talking. It could be the videos that Keller Williams puts out on the market every month. It'd be your videos, all of those kind of things. Create the smart plans to make that happen. So here's our takeaways for today. Number one, your clients, your friends, and your family need you to be more. Now, here's my presupposition. Most of your clients, your friends, and your family see you as the person that will help them buy a house they want to live in or sell a house they don't want to live in. And that's their vision of what you do and who you are. They need you to be more. Number one. Number two, you're going to achieve more if you have a powerful team. We'll talk about that. You'll create more business with your current database if you engage them in this conversation. And number four, you'll create more wealth for you. And with a mindset that you should be the first buyer for every listing that's taken in the office. We have some of the teams in our office right now that are actually doing investment analysis on every listing that comes into the office. And not only are they finding, oh, here's the outlier, here's one that could be a good deal, or here's the outlier, here's one that's not a good deal, why not? But they're also tracking and they're seeing, oh, in these certain areas, this is where the best return on investment is. And I'm in Gilbert, so I'm talking Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, Queen Creek, Tempe, all of those areas. Our teams are actually tracking it by doing and saying, should we buy one of these properties? So here's the premise. Here's the premise, the foundation for my business plan, the foundation I want to recommend to you for your business plan. And that is, and I'm going to say it personally, Steve, you can get everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. So I don't just encourage you. Let's stop for a second, personalize it, use your word, and you say it too. Steve, you can get everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. So if that's the foundational thinking for your business plan, then what is it that they want? Now everybody knows about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's like I'd hardly find a person that hasn't read the book. And yesterday, somebody was talking to me about how it actually changed their life. When they read it, they were in college, chose not to finish up the 4-year degree, got the 2-year degree, went into real estate investing. He currently has 11 properties. His current cash flow is a positive $11,000 per month. And his monthly expenses, including insurance and everything, is $10,000 a month. And that book is what predicated it. It's what got it started. But I want to look at the tagline for the book because that's what's interesting. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is about what the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and the middle class do not. And interestingly, one of the things he said is savers are losers. Because the poor and the middle class are looking at how much money am I tracking in my savings account? How much do I have in the bank? And they're monitoring their success or their growth or lack of growth by the money that they have in the bank. Where what the rich are doing is they're actually measuring their net worth. and they're focused on the growth of net worth. So I'm going to show you the spreadsheet that I use and talk about net worth for just a second. And this is the spreadsheet here. This is just an example. But on the spreadsheet over here on the yellow side, this is what you own. These are your assets. So we start out with paper assets like your stocks. Maybe you own some stocks, or maybe you have a loan out to somebody, one of your kids or one of your friends. And what about your IRA? What do you have in the IRA? Life insurance, bonds, mutual funds, all of these things would be considered paper assets. And then we look at real estate. What do you have for real estate assets? And then what about businesses? And one of the things that we teach in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book is that your business, if you systematize that business, and if you operate from the models that we teach, the 4 models that we teach inside of the MRE plan, your real estate practice actually has value. I'm going to stop just a second here, and I want you to think about this. When I first got started, I was one of the top agents at a company in Phoenix called Realty Executives. I spent 20 years at Realty Executives, and I was making really good money, and I was young. I was in my 20s and 30s, and I'm watching people older than me retire, and the value of their business was however many referrals they could generate. So the value of 100% of their business went down to 25% if they could continue to capture the leads. But what winds up happening to most of those people is their friends and family know somebody else who's full-time. They know you're retired. You don't get the leads anymore. So the value of your business just goes down to a small fraction. In fact, I had one of the top producers in Mesa who decided that he was going to travel around the country, bought a 5th wheel and a brand new pickup truck, sold all of his house and his investment properties, and took off. And he said, Steve, I'm going to keep in touch with my clients and I'm going to refer them all to you. He had such a good time going around the country for year number 1 that he went and did it for year number 2. How many referrals do you think I got? 2. Got 2 referrals out of that, which I paid him 25% on. And this was one of the top producing real estate agents in the East Valley. So when we talk about real estate practice, this little sideline here is do you have a value on that? What is the value? What's the current cash flow on it? How much of it needs you to be there? And how much could you actually sell it for? And then other assets, gold, property, personal property, coins. And I also want to add in Keller Williams profit sharing. Because if you're not thinking about profit sharing as a business, profit sharing as a way to create passive income, you're not thinking right. You're thinking too small. Okay, there's the yellow side. On the other side, this is what we owe. So we keep track of what kind of debts do I have here? What mortgages do I have on my real estate? Do I have any business loans or any other loans on things? So if what we do is net worth equals, you subtract what you owe from what you own, and there's your net worth. So in this example, it's $1 million. The other thing to track is what's your passive income? How much income is being created without you having to work? Because we got paper assets up here, and the passive income from the paper assets may or may not give us any cash flow to live off of. The cash flow from the properties that you have. Your current house, if your payment's $1,200 a month, it's a negative cash flow as opposed to a positive cash flow, right? So what are we doing? We're monitoring the passive income. And finally, what we're looking at is what's the return on investment? And can I do better? And so what's this stock doing for me, or what's this property doing for me? And one of the agents in my office was talking yesterday, and he's got 12 investment properties, and he said, I've got one that's only making me 3%. So I'm selling it right now because the market's great, but I'm going to acquire some others. What do the rich do? The rich focus on net worth. The poor and the middle class focus on savings. People grow into the conversation you create around them. Okay, well now let's talk about building your business. And let's look at the net worth by age. Now, this is the most recent number that I can come up with, which is 2016. But when you take a look, this is what's recommended in the age group, so 65 to 74. Here's the recommended amount, and here's the amount that's actual. Or excuse me, this is the average, and this is the median. I said this wrong. I'll talk about the other in a minute. Okay, median. Here's the average. Here's the median. The median is somebody else has more, half of the people have more than this, and half of the people have less. And so when you have a lot of people that have more, then there's also a lot of people that wind up having less with it. And so if we look at the median net worth for Americans, and let's go to 65 to 69 years old, median net worth for Americans is 195,000, but this much of it is in their house, which means in order to get access to it, they either have to do a reverse mortgage like we see advertising on TV, or they have to sell the house, because this is what we have outside of the home equity. And so there's an absolute need out there. So I'm going to read this. For reality, and many of it sucks, is in the second half of 2019, with the average savings rate hovering around 5%, a median 401k of only $110,000, and an average 401k balance at retirement age of around $200,000, many Americans are financially screwed. Now, I pulled this up just this year on Financial Samurai. Add the average Social Security payment per person of $18,000 a year to a 4% withdrawal rate, which is what a financial advisor would tell you. You do a 4% withdrawal rate, don't outlive your money. You get $27,000 a year to live happily ever after and you die at 85. Clearly not enough money. The people that you know around you need your help to create wealth. And if you foundation your business on helping them solve these problems that I'm showing you right now, it's huge. Here's the suggested retirement savings. Here's the average. Here's the suggested. Here's the average. People have not saved enough, and they can't save enough in order to be able to meet the retirement needs. So I'm going to suggest to you strategy here, strategy for building your business. Number one, it's a multi-generational issue, and they need your help. So we have the older generation, and we're all programmed that you make your money in the stock market. In my book, I tell the story about my grandfather. And my grandfather was sitting at the kitchen table, and he's reading the paper, and he's reading where the stocks are in the paper. And he turns to me and he says, Stevie, make sure you invest in good companies like RCA and General Electric. Anybody even heard of RCA? They're not around anymore. We're programmed to make our money, to put it into 401ks, IRAs, give it to financial planners, invest it for us in the stock market. We're also programmed, and the older generation is programmed to pay off your house. And that's the right thing to do, so that you reduce your expenses, so that when you don't have much income, you don't have much expenses. And that's the strategy that they use. Well, okay, and that's what we've been taught. But if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is where the stock market is right now, okay, this is year to date. And year to date, the return on investment in the Dow Jones, if you'd have bought January 1st in the stock market, and you paid $1 for the stock, and it just rode the Dow Jones Industrial Average, down 3%. That's not the issue. The issue is volatility. Look, it just went way down, and it's been bouncing back, and we're hoping it's going to bounce back more. And then the headlines hit 2 days ago, and it's continued, and it's gone down, and they're hoping it's going to go back. Nobody's comfortable with the volatility that's going on here. And the question is it going to continue to happen, or is it going to continue to grow? Now, my stock market advisor, I went to him and I said, you know what I've heard for years is that if you just keep your money in the stock market, it's a long-term play, Steve. You just keep your money in the stock market, and over 10 to 20 years, you're going to get an 8 to 10% return on your investment. So I said, okay, let's go back and take a look at that. By the way, I went to my financial advisor 2 months ago, and I told him that, and he says, Steve, it's really about 6. Don't plan on 8 to 10. It's really about 6. So I went in and I said, okay, let's go back 20 years. Here's year 2000, here's 2020. The Dow Jones Industrial Average went down 6.17%. So let's just assume that you put $200,000 in the stock market, January 1 of 2000. It's now 187,000. Now I'm not going to bore you by reading these numbers, but you can see the red ones are when it went down and the green ones are when it went up. So it went down 6, went down 7, went up 17, and then, or went down 17, then it goes up 25. And everybody's an expert. That's awesome, but we're still got less money than what we started with. We're still at 182,000. Then it goes up again and it goes down. So we've got this volatility going on. All right. So if you take it all the way down to the bottom, and this is as of today, with a negative 2.94% return, the average return is what? 5.4%. 5.4%. So as we look at the growth of that, ROI, return on investment, is one of the things, it's the conversation that we need to be having around our friends, our families, and our clients. I talked to my son about it the other day. He works for CVS. He puts money into their retirement program, and he has stock options. So how are you doing on all of that? I don't know. What's your return on investment? I don't know. I just put money in because I get matched. And so, so most of the people don't have any idea. They need you to be more to start this conversation and start looking at it, okay? Now, let's just use this as an example, because the stock market over the last 20 years, 5.4%. If I was to buy a house 20 years ago, and I held on to it for that 20-year period of time, and I sold it today for the same price that I bought it for, $100,000, is that a good investment?
No.
Yes, tax write-offs.
Would you recommend that to anybody?
No.
No, probably not, right? So let's throw the rest of the story into the equation. Let's say I put 20% down. So I put $20,000 down on it. And then let's say that I had a break-even cash flow for 20 years. So what does that mean? I didn't take money out of my pocket to make the mortgage payments and pay the expenses, but I didn't put a dime into my pocket either. And I sold it 20 years later for the same price that I paid for it. What's the return on investment? Anybody want to guess?
Negative?
20%.
It's 8% every year for 20 years. And so while the stock market has averaged 5.4% over the last 20 years, and everybody's programmed to have their money in there, a real estate investment that you would not even recommend makes 8.38% over that period of time. No appreciation, no positive cash flow out of it. All that happened was the tenant paid your mortgage off for you. That makes 8.34% on your 20% down over that period of time. Any questions on this?
Yeah, can you do the math for me? So basically we put 20,000 down and we held it for 20 years. What's that math look like to get that percentage rate?
Well, just put it into your financial calculator, right? Present value is $100,000, okay? The time period is 20 years. Cash flow is 0. Future value is $100,000, same as the present value, and then calculate the interest rate. You'll come out with 8.38%.
Got it.
Because we're basing it off the base of 20% down, so that's our cash into the deal. And at the end of the 20 years, it's paid off. We now have $100,000, showing the 8.38% interest, not being any positive cash flow, any appreciation schedule. That's where the factoring comes in, the 8.38%.
This is just the tenants paying your mortgage off for you. So, stock market averages 6. A terrible real estate agent averages better than 8. I'm going to show you in a minute the difference that 2% will, because most, oh, it's only 2%, it's only 2%, baloney. Okay, so what's our opportunity? In 2016, Better Homes and Garden did a survey of 1,000 people, and 9 out of 10 of those people would like to put their money into real estate. 8 out of 10 believes that real estate is one of the best financial legacies to leave for their family. 8 out of 10 of the parents would consider buying a property for their child or their grandchild. What do you sell? Are you creating the conversation around them? 8 to 9 out of 10 people want to do this. Why don't they do it? Well, their concerns are they don't know enough, or it requires too much time, or I don't have the startup capital, or, you know, owning rental properties is too risky because somebody's going to ruin it for me. 30% of those people said they're more likely to invest if they knew a real estate investment professional or resources to explain how to get started. See, if you're not having the conversation with them, where are they going? They're going on the internet. They're going to Bigger Pockets podcast. They're going everywhere except to you in order to get the information they need to acquire what they want to acquire. 84% of the people who already invested said they would like to buy more. And 80% who had never invested said they would like to make the commitment. They need you to be more, not just their real estate agent. They need you to be their trusted advisor. So I want to differentiate between being their real estate agent and being their trusted advisor, because you're the one that's going to provide the opportunity for them to make that happen. So let's talk about financial freedom. Let's talk about financial security. What do we do? I define it as the income to fund your life without having a job. The income to fund your life without having a job. Isn't that why people work for retirement? They want to fund their life and retire, not have to work for it. So how do we actually create that? All right. So this is a financial freedom strategy. It's one strategy that you can use. So if you're taking notes and you're saying, what's my business plan going to look like? What do my conversations look like? Here's what it looks like. Okay. Number one, you determine the cash flow that you need at retirement. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. Number two, you purchase the number of properties needed to meet that particular goal. How much do I need at retirement? How many properties do I need to make that happen? After the last property is purchased, you quit buying. And you start paying off the first property as the rents increase on all the properties. You take the positive cash flows and you're going to be paying off the mortgages. After the first property is paid off, you use the funds to pay off the second and the third property. So you're accelerating the positive cash flows that are created. And after all of them are paid off, financial freedom. Any questions on the strategy? By the way, it's only one. There's others, but this one's quick and easy, right? All right. So this strategy right here provides a potential for $120,000 to $140,000 a year in cash flow, $3 million in 6 free and clear houses by executing this particular strategy right here. Well, okay, so let's say you use the hold book and you give it to one of your clients, and the client says, you know what, I'd like to do this. And you find out that if you have 10 clients or family members, 9 out of 10 would like to do this. Well, if you had one client per month that did this over and above your existing business, and it was a $250,000 deal times 3% is $7,500, and you did that every month for 12 months, that's an additional $90,000 in commissions to you. What if you allocated those commissions to you buying your investment properties? This is the extra business that you're creating by having this conversation with them. Well, let's expand it a little bit and let's go to, what if it was 3 clients a month? And you're doing like Christina Martinez did in the back of the MREA book, the reason why we're even having this conversation. 3 a month is $270,000 in annual commissions to you. And each one of your clients becomes worth $270,000 more value to you, because they're not just moving every 5 to 10 years. They're moving, and they're not moving to their house necessarily. They might, but what they're doing is they're acquiring additional properties. You're building your business by what? Helping them build wealth. You can do it fast by utilizing a team, or you can do it slower if you go alone. Either way, you can do it. Question is, how fast do you want to have that happen, right? So here's the team. You're in the center. You get the property manager for them. Find the best property manager you can find. Nobody should be buying investment property so they get a part-time job in property management. Can I say that again? Nobody, except for my dad, because my dad wanted to buy a 12-plex and live in one of them and then rent out all the other ones. He was a dentist and he thought, oh, this could be my retirement income. He wanted to be the property manager because he liked to fix things, but none of your clients should be doing it themselves. Okay, you bring them a good property manager, you bring them the lawyer, the lender, the CPA, the financial advisor. And by the way, the financial advisor, don't let them work with a financial advisor that does not invest in real estate. If they don't have a financial advisor that invests in real estate, they will say buy real estate investment stocks or something else, and their mindset is not congruent with what you're talking about here. And make sure you have the right insurance agent that specializes in non-owner occupied properties. You bring the team together. Don't wait for them to do it. Make it easy for them to make that happen. So what's your opportunity? 9 out of 10 want to do it. 8 out of 10 people think this is the best legacy to leave for their family. And 8 out of 10 people think that they would like to do this for their kids or their grandchildren. How many of you know a grandparent that likes their grandchildren better than their own children? And you know what? They are programmed to pay off the house. Grandpa and grandma are going to have equity sitting in a house that's free and clear when, if the very least, they could use a reverse mortgage, for example, and they would have no payments on it. And what would happen if they bought a cash flowing property with that reverse mortgage? Or what would happen if they pulled money out of their house at 2.75%, which they can do right now, and they wound up making 15 or 20% on a real estate investment? Okay, this is a multi-generational thing because their kids don't have the money necessarily, but the family has the money. You can bring the family together into this conversation to help them build wealth. 30% said they're more likely to invest if they knew a real estate investment professional or the resources to explain how to get started. You're not having the conversation, they're going to the internet to find somebody who will. So, becoming the trusted advisor, first of all, you provide education for them, webinars, seminars. Secondly, you provide the information. What's going on in the market? Is it going up? Is it going down? People are afraid to invest right now. Why? They think the market's going to go down. And then the issue is, so what if it does? If you're not a seller, it doesn't matter. The question is the property cash flowing? And if the property's cash flowing, why would you sell? Okay, provide the information for them. They are not trained to think like investors, which is the reason why Rich Dad, Poor Dad was so popular, because our schools do not teach us to think this way. And then you provide the resources, i.e. the team. You bring the team together to make it easy for them, to provide the answers. Do I need an LLC, or can I just buy an insurance policy and cover it? What do I need? Your resources provide the services, and your job is to go out and find the right property. You can succeed alone at a small level, but nobody succeeds at a high level without you. You put the team together. And I want to encourage you to make this a part of your market center culture. It's what David is talking to me about and saying, I want my top agents to be building wealth, to be building passive income, to be focused on building wealth. You need to talk about it regularly. You need to help each other inside of your office, and inside of that conversation inside of your office is just as important as the ones you're having with your family, your friends, and your clients. And so the seminars, the books, the intentional conversations, we wrote Hold. So the idea is you give the book to them and you say, this is a national best-selling book. I'd love for you to read it. And after you've read it, can we have a cup of coffee? Can we get together for a glass of wine or beer? Can we just have a conversation? Is this something you could do? You know, 9 out of 10 of them would say yes. So part of the strategy for building your business. And then what's your job? Well, your job is just go out and find some properties they would invest in. Because you have the team, they'll make the decision to say yes. So quickly, unmute yourself. True or false? Is there a need to build wealth?
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
True or false? People that you currently know want to own rental properties.
True.
True.
True. True. They'll do it if they just had somebody to show them how to get it done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so then the question is, are you the trusted advisor with a great team?
Without a doubt.
Okay. So then what I want is anybody who said yes to it meets with somebody who said no and bring the relationships together inside of the market center and refer the lender, refer the lawyer, refer the insurance person, build it in, build that team inside the market center, and everybody benefits from making that happen. Okay, questions, comments? We're getting ready to get started with who do you need to be a trusted advisor? Any questions in the chat box? I haven't looked at it.
No, an excellent presentation, Steve. You know, having been around a long time and building my wealth on a lot of what you said, I can see that every agent that sells real estate in Keller Williams should have this as a basic foundation to their business.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book or Real Estate Investor book was written almost 20 years ago as the vehicle and the tool for us to make it happen. And the thing is that people know about it. So I'm out evangelizing. Thanks for the comment. Anybody else?
Oh, let's go.
All right then. I like it. Okay. All right. So let's talk about how much you're going to need to keep your lifestyle. That was the first part of this. How much money is the sum need to be able to retire? So we're going to make some assumptions here. Number one, we're going to assume that inflation is going to go at 3%. Now, right now it's at 3%, but with all of this deficit thing that just put out under COVID, you could see what might happen. Number two is, let's just assume that this person has current expenses of $5,000 a month. That's how much it costs to fund their family and their life. So well, I want you to open up your cell phone, find your calculator, and turn it to landscape. Turn it this way. I'll be right back. Okay, did your calculator change? Okay, so you have the calculator looks different when you turn it to landscape. If it doesn't, then just turn it to financial calculator. Okay, here we go. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to say inflation is 3% per year, and we're going to retire in 30 years. Now, if it wasn't 30, you'd put in 20, but we're going to use 30 for this example. So here's the inflation factor. It's 1.03. You punch in 1.03, and there's a key that says Y over X. You press that key and punch in 30, and you should have the number 2.42 come up on the calculator. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let me know if you need to stop. I'm going to keep going. So the 2.42 is the factor for 30 years. If it was 20 years, it'd be different, just like I said. But that's how you do that. So you take the 2.42 now and you multiply that number times their current expenses per month, which is $5,000. When you do that, you should come up with $12,136. What does that number mean? That number means 30 years from now, if inflation is at 3% and averages 3% over this period of time, you will need to have $12,000 of income in order to replace the $5,000 that you currently are. Any questions on that? Take that, multiply it times 12. That means you're going to need to make $145,000 a year 30 years from now just to maintain your current lifestyle. So if we put the money in the stock market, what they say is the 4% rule. You'll want to run out of money before you run out of time. So what do? You withdraw 4% per year, and then that preserves the goose that laid the golden egg instead of killing the goose. Nursery rhymes, right? Okay, so that comes up with, so if you take the 145, divide it by 0.04, you're going to need to save $3.6 million in order to be able to produce the $12,000 a month that you need to retire. Everybody with me? Okay, that's our target, $3.6 million per month, or savings in 30 years. 3.6 million savings in 30 years time. So, can you save that money?
Nope.
Not likely.
Okay, well, take $3.6 million and just divide it by 360 months. What's the number you come up with? I didn't do it. So what's the number? 10,000 a month?
Yeah, 10,113.
Oh, well, wait a minute. My expenses are only $5,000 a month, but if I save $10,000 a month, I'll be able to have that money for retirement. Can you save your way to retirement? Okay, second thought, cash is not an asset. I want you to write this down. Cash is not an asset. The middle class and the poor measure the cash in their bank account. The wealthy look and say, how many assets do I have that creates cash? Cash is a tool to acquire assets. Okay. And then the next thought is, if I buy an asset, how much does it make for me? What is the return on investment? Is this a good one? Can I do more? If it's a great one, how do I make it better? Okay. And then finally, cash flow. How much do I need? How much do I want? And I just showed you how to calculate that based on your time frame. So how do we get there? Let's look at a couple of examples. And let's just go with the stock market, okay? Now, first of all, the stock market, you have to put $1 in to buy $1 worth of stock. Costs you $1. So let's pretend you got $75,000 in savings, and you're currently saving $2,000 per month, and let's be really generous and say you're making 10% on your money, okay? Well, in 27 years, I will hit my goal of having $3.6 million saved. If I start with $75,000, save $2,000 per month, and get 10% interest over that 30-year period of time, in 27 years, I've hit my goal. I have taken out of my pocket $622,000, and I net $3.6 million. Can it be done in the stock market? Say yes. As long as you're saving this at this rate. If you're not getting 10% rate, guess what? It's going to take longer. It's going to take more years. All right, let's look at another example. And let's say play Monopoly. How many of you played Monopoly, the game of Monopoly, right? We know how that works, right? So let's start with our same $75,000. And what we're going to do is we're going to buy a $300,000 house. And so in buying the $300,000 house, I'm going to make a down payment of $60,000. I'm going to take 60 out of my 75, and I'm going to get a 4% interest rate on it, which you can do better than that right now, but I'm going to get a 4% interest rate, and I'm going to have a $250 a month positive cash flow, $3,000 a year. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to spend that money. I'm going to let the tenant pay down my mortgage for me and add it to the principal balance every year. Does this make sense? The loan pays off in 20 years. Just going under that formula there. If the property appreciates at 4% per year, now let me stop on that a minute. When we did the research for our book Hold, we went back over 40 years. It's 50 years now. And we did the research and we said, what's the average appreciation for real estate? And it was 4%. It was actually 4.2. Phoenix area over the last 20 years, including the boom and the bust, has been 4.5% over the last 20 years. So I think it's appropriate to say 4% per year. But if this $300,000 property is going to go up $12,000 per year because of appreciation, okay? So we're playing Monopoly. So in 20 years, what happens? Well, the value of the house is now $540,000. I have no loan on it. My rents, if I'm increasing my rents along with the rate of inflation at 3%, I'm making $42,000 a year off the rent. That's $3,500 a month. How much did I need to fund my retirement? I needed $12,000, right? So the issue is, I got to do more. So I started out with $75,000. I put $60K down. I still got $15,000 saved, and I'm going to save $2,000 a month for 2 years. And guess what? In year 3, I now have $64,000 to go buy another property. My original 15 plus the $2,000 per month, I'll have $64,000 to buy again. In addition to that, here's what's happening. So my original principal, because I put 60 down at 4% interest, here's my payment. I've got an additional $250 worth of principal payment. And if I just apply that, I'm done in 21 years using the positive cash flow. It's free and clear. But if what I do is I raise the rent just 75 bucks and I apply the additional $75 to the rent, I'm now free and clear in 17 years. Do you see how it's accelerating? Okay, now look at what happened. If I did that 4 times, I'm going to have $3,500 times 4. That's $14,000 per month passive income. How much did I need? I needed 12. I only bought 4, and I did this over a 6 to 9 year period. This process is a 6 to 9 year period of time. My total contribution of $60,000 for each property is $240,000, as opposed to if I did it in the stock market, I got to put in $622. Why? Because I can't rent my stocks out. I don't have a tenant paying me for the use of my stock, but in real estate, I do. So $1 worth of stock costs $1. In this particular example, I can do it in the stock market. I just got to be able to save this much at this rate and put this much money into it. On the converse, you can help me do it faster. And by the way, I like it better. So back in a few years ago, the Department of Commerce did a study, and they said people who are 65 years old, they said, how many wealthy people do we actually have in the United States? And their premise for being wealthy was you did not need Social Security, you did not need your pension in order to maintain your lifestyle. And so the question was, how many actually qualified? Well, only 6 out of 100 qualified under that criteria, and 5 of the 6 attributed their wealth to what? What do you sell? So we're going to keep going here, but I'm going to stop in just a second because we went through a strategy and a conversation to have with your people, and it's called Play Monopoly. And they know how to play Monopoly. They just don't do it in real life because you haven't been helping them. So change your business plan and put the investor smart plans into your GPS. Put investor seminars into your GPS. Be on purpose with your business plan. And I'm going to suggest to you that you start measuring and make 2 for 1 in 12. So what does that mean? That means what in your business plan causes you to have 2 more closings in a 12-month period of time for every 1 closing. How do you close 1, get 2 more closings in 12 months from that client and make it part of your business plan? Now, that's easy answer. Oh, I get a referral from somebody. Perfect. They buy another property. Perfect. There's 2. Okay, they buy 2 of them. Perfect, awesome. Sorry about the barking dog. He doesn't like the UPS guy. Okay, so number 1, start the conversation with them. Number 2, give them a book and set a time to discuss the book. Number 3, find a prospective investment and call them and tell them about it. And here's the script. And this is the one that I use, okay? So I told you that I didn't know anybody, so I'm calling back to New York. And I'm saying, you know what? I'm looking at properties every day. And when I find a great investment, would you like to know about it? Well, they say yes. And most of them, we already know 9 out of 10 will say, yes, I'd like to know about it. I want to do this. Well, then the next thing is, well, what would you say yes to? Would you say yes to a condo? Would you say yes to a piece of land? Would you say yes to a mobile home? Would you say yes to a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex? What would you say yes to? And what would you say no to? Because you're not going to show me properties that don't match my criteria. Then your smart plan is, here's my multifamily people, here's my single family people, here's my condo people, and they're all in a separate smart plan, so you're not having to do the work. Command does the work for you. So I'm gonna ask everybody to unmute right now. I know some of you are still working and trying to do 2 things at once, but hold on. Here's the deal, okay? And here is the script, and I just want to practice it with you, and I want you to say it. This is just like bold. I want you to say it 5 times really fast, okay? And the script is, and just use my name and just say, hi, Steve. As part of my job, I preview properties regularly. From time to time, I run across a really good deal. By the way, what do all your people want?
A really good deal.
A really good deal. Then the next question is, when I find a great real estate investment, would you be interested in knowing about it? So I'm not promising good deals. I'm talking about good investments. Okay, so you ready? I want you to use my name here, and I want you to just do this script as fast as you possibly can say it 5 times. Ready? Go.
Hi, Steve. It's
I
Bob.
see a job
I like to review properties regularly.
regularly.
From time to time, I run across a really good deal. When I find a great real estate investment, I'm
great real
interested to
estate
know
investment.
about it.
Really good deal. When I find a great investment, would you be interested to know about it?
As part of my job,
Hi Bob, as part of my job, I
I
review
run across a really good deal.
properties regularly. From time to time, I run across a really
Run
great
across a really good deal.
Steve, as part of my
Find a great
job, I
Great
preview
real estate investment, would you be
properties
interested
regularly.
to know about it? Hi, Steve. As part of my job, I
sorry.
review properties regularly from time to time.
When I find a really rich investment, would you be interested to know about it?
Okay, say it without looking.
Hi, Steve. As
Steve.
part of my job, I review properties regularly.
As part of my job, I
Good deal.
run across real
Property would be interested in hearing.
investments. Would you be interested in hearing about them?
Okay, is that easy to do?
Yes,
Is that a
Please.
great touch?
scripting is awesome.
I think so. Okay, so then what you do is you have a field in command that says investor, yes. And then you have a tag for what type of investor, condos, single families, I don't know, whatever it is. And now your job is to go find one and send it out to them and send it out to them and send it out to them. Because right now, your mind share, your position in their mind is you're helping them buy and sell houses that they want to live in. They don't see you as the investor until they start experiencing you as the investor 6 to 8 times. They don't see you until they experience you.
Teresa, this is Cheryl Glenn with Glenn Realty. How are you?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm doing good.
All right,
You
can you tell her to mute? I don't know who that is.
did.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's the strategy. Have the conversation, give them the book, and then learn about the new tax, the retirement laws, and what's happening with the retirement, and the fact that, by the way, people don't have to take required minimum distributions at 70 anymore. They can wait till 72. So what are they doing to grow and make that happen? Because they would have to be paying taxes on that money. Can you help them defer the taxes? 1031 exchanges, using personal banking strategies, which is a whole nother seminar. sheltering their income, talking to them about, do they need an LLC or can they buy an umbrella policy from the insurance? Talking with their lawyer about that, excuse me. Now, I want you to be looking and saying, how can I use my commission for a down payment? And by the way, it's okay for you to get a 10% commission. And I'm going to tell you that your lender will tell you if you get a 10% commission and the property appraises for the value, they'll lend you the rest. Okay? So these are the ways that you can go about saying, how do I get started? So even if you don't have any money, you can use your commission for the down payment and start acquiring more and more properties. Any questions about this? Okay, what about ahas? What are you taking away from the conversation so far?
Do I need to save $2,000 a month for the next 3 years and buy some houses?
Okay.
I loved your part about talking to financial advisors who invest in real estate themselves, finding the right referral partners.
Yeah, and imagine your financial advisor that invests in real estate themselves. You find them a good deal and they start telling about their clients about, hey, I can help you with that. Cool. Other ahas.
I like the fact, Steve, that you lay out a strategy that is simple to follow and easy to implement. It's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah, it totally is. Totally is. Thank you. Who else? Okay. All right. That's all the ahas. So let's talk about what the skills that you need to have in order to become that trusted advisor. Okay. Now, how long did you anticipate we were going to have this meeting for? I have it for 2 hours on my schedule. What do you guys have?
Same. I've got it running through 12:30.
Okay. All right. We'll go through this as quickly as I can. So real investors talk return on investment. Real investors don't talk about how pretty their investment is. They talk about what the ROI is on the investment, the return on their investment. And so in speaking of return on investment, when we're programmed in the stock market, people are looking at the price to earnings ratio, which is equivalent to our cap rate, yield, which is our ROI, the dividend, which we call cash flow before taxes, margin. You can borrow money to invest in stocks, but you can't borrow the fixed rate for 30 years. We call it leverage. And lots of times when you're investing in a mutual fund, they say, this is what we've done. Boy, if you invested with us back in the day, this is what you've gone. In real estate, we use the internal rate of return to actually project forward to the future instead of just looking to the past. So the first one I want to talk about is the cap rate. Okay, and in Arizona, we needed to learn the cap rate in order to be able to pass the real estate exam. And it's really, really simple. But people go, well, what's the cap rate? It's the rate at which your capital grows. Everybody say that out loud. Cap rate is what?
Capital grows.
The rate at which your capital grows. So if you put the money in the bank, you get a 0.5% interest, that's your cap rate. You put the money in stocks, you get 6 to 10%, that's your cap rate. Real estate, well, it depends on the investment, that's the cap rate. So when we look at the cap rate, what is it? First of all, it's a rule of thumb, okay? It's not the best way to determine, is this the right property, but it's a great way to eliminate the ones that aren't. So it assumes that you're paying all cash for the property, and most of your investors won't be paying all cash. They're going to be getting a mortgage, but the cap rate doesn't calculate that. Number one. Number two, it only analyzes the first year, and they're going to hold on to it for more than 1 year, but it is easy to calculate. And so here's the formula. Net operating income divided by the price equals the cap rate. Net operating income divided by the price equals the cap rate. Really simple, okay? Any questions on that? All right. So what's net operating income? Well, you create a budget, right? And so here's rental income. We're buying a property, renting for $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 annual. Here's my expenses, management fees, and all of the other expenses in here. And so if you take the income minus the expenses equals your net operating income. What does it not include?
Mortgage.
It doesn't include the mortgage payment. It's all of your expenses except the mortgage payment. Why? Because it assumes you're paying all cash for the property. So your total cash, so your mortgage payment in here might make a negative cash flow like you see right here. Your cap rate could be positive, but your cash flow is negative. And so, but it's easy to figure what the NOI is, and that's the first thing you have to know in order to figure the cap rate. So once you have the NOI, and we just run this down, I've got this spreadsheet, I'm going to share it with you so you'll be able to use it. The pro forma cap rate on this is 5%. So in other words, if I was to buy this property and I paid all cash for it like I would have to do with stock, and I would have a return on investment of 5% per year, every year, for however many years we're calculating this out. That's the presupposition. Okay, now if I'm losing you, let me know. But here's a little quiz, right? If my net operating income is $20,000 and my sales price is $275,000, what's my cap rate? Use your calculator. What's the formula? Net operating income divided by the price equals the rate.
7.2.
Okay, 7.3%. I rounded it up. Okay. All right, now I'm going to move quickly through all of this. If my net operating income is $15,000, and you notice I'm using annual numbers, not monthly, my sales price is $300,000, what's my cap rate? 5%. What if my $10,000 at $275,000? Look at the cap rate difference. I've doubled it because my NOI is same sales price, NOI is higher, my cap rate. So I'm not just looking to buy a $275,000 house, I'm looking to buy a $275,000 house that gives me the best cash flow that I can. Okay. Any questions on this? Because I'm moving fast. This is what you need to be able to talk about and determine for somebody in order to be that trusted advisor, because you're going to have this conversation with their accountant. All right, here's the next one. It's called cash on cash. And the formula for cash on cash is your cash flow before taxes divided by your down payment. Cash on cash, and some of your investors will talk about this. Number one's a rule of thumb. You're going to compare this one to this one to this one. You're going to say, oh, let's take a look. This one first. Notice that price is not a factor. It's not included in here. It does not matter what you paid for the thing. The question is, how much am I making over how much I put down? It ignores the first year. It ignores tax benefit, or it analyzes the first year, ignores tax benefits. And so if you had $1,000 a month in rent, $12,000, and let's say you minus your expenses and minus your loan payments. Now, cash on cash takes into account what? The mortgage payments. The cap rate didn't. So my cash flow before tax is $2,000. Well, let's say I put $20,000 down. My cash on cash return is 10%. And you'll have investors that say, yeah, you get me a 10% cash on cash return. Now, that's pretty hard to do right now. But because the interest rates are so low, it's easier than it has been. And maybe it's 8%, but still you need to be able to know how to talk about that with your clients. Now I'm going to give you a spreadsheet so you can calculate all of this stuff. But if I had cash flow before taxes of $5,000, I put $20,000 down, it's 25% return. Okay, if I go through this, go fast. Anybody? Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to take out your phone or your tablet, open up the browser, and I want you on your browser, you can use your computer too, but you're on, type in kahoot.it. Everybody get there?
It shows an assortment of related links. And it says online
Oh,
quiz.
wait a minute. I'm sorry. Go to Kahoot. See, I spelled it wrong. It's K-A-H-O-O-T. K-A-H-O-O-T.
H. Okay, there we go.
All right, good.
It's asking for a game pin.
Okay, got it on the screen. Can you see my screen?
We see a slideshow.
Looks like a slideshow.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna
Still loading.
do a new share. So raise your hand if you're competitive. Good, we're gonna have a little competition. All right, welcome. Welcome Jesse, welcome Linda, Melissa, Marcus. Big Dog, all right. Okay, we've got 12 players in here, got room for 8 more. I'll wait another minute. Okay, I got 14 players in here. Anybody need me to wait? I don't know how many people we have on this. We got 28 participants. Okay, here we go. 14 players. You ready to compete, you guys? Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to start this, and this is called the rate of return quiz. And you're going to get a practice test right here, okay? And this practice, press your favorite colored button on your phone screen. And you have a couple of seconds to do this. Your favorite colored button. Got 13 answers in, okay. So green is the favorite for most of us. Blue is the favorite from the next one. This is how you answer the questions, okay? You're just going to pick the right answer by pressing it on your screen. You ready for the first question? Here we go. Oh, by the way, it also measures how quickly you answer. So it measures, did I get the right answer and did I do it quickly? So far, Joe is in the lead because Joe answered that most quickly. Lisa's in second place. Larry the house guy. Is that like Larry the cable guy? Okay. Big Dan, you guys are all in. And Melissa, you ready? Here we go. The definition of a cap rate is okay. Now these are times, so I only got 6 of you in here, so on this particular one. So in the lead right now is Big Dan with 1570, and then Jesse and Lisa are tied. The definition of the cap rate is what?
The rate at which your money grows, your capital grows.
The rate at which your money grows or your capital grows. Ready? Here we go. Next one. In real estate, the cap rate is used what? To determine the sales price, compare potential investments, determine loan to value, determine appraised value of a property. 9 more seconds. Okay. Okay, so actually there's 2 correct answers here, right? To determine the sales price of a property or how much you would pay for a property if you said, I want a 7% cap rate and it makes this much money, then the cap rate will tell you how much you can pay for that house. To compare potential investments, that's absolutely correct. And so 10 people got it right. Big Dan was in the lead. Big Dan's still in the lead with Jesse pulling up to second place right now. Lisa, you're close. And Zephyr and Marcus, you're in the running. Let's keep going. The correct calculation for net operating income is, you got 15 more seconds. All right, again, the correct answer is income minus expenses, excluding debt service. But if you answered the green one as well, that's true because it's income minus vacancy factor minus expenses. I did not discuss this, but you'll see it in a minute, excluding debt service. Okay, so we got 5 correct answers here. Let's see who's in the lead now. Big Dan's. Lisa, you're just right on Big Dan's heels. And so let's keep going. Cash on cash is defined as eight more seconds. Got 8 answers in. 10, 11. Okay. Okay, the correct answer is cash flow before taxes divided by the down payment. We got a lot of people saying it's not cash flow after taxes.
How are you, sir?
Yes. Hello? Okay. All right, let's see where we are right now. All right, Big Dan's, oh, you're starting to spread out on Lisa here. You're getting the answers fast. Okay, but Lisa has a streak right now of 5 correct answers in a row. So keep it up, Lisa. Here we go. Cash on cash is determined by the price. True or false? Okay, cash on cash is not determined by the price. That's true. It's determined by the cash flow and the amount of down payment, and price has nothing to do with it. So where are we now? Okay, Lisa, got to keep hustling. Dan's getting the answers in faster. So yeah, I'm rooting for you here. No offense, Dan. ROI is what?
Oops.
Okay, ROI is the return on investment, okay? Return on investment.
I saw the F as an N.
All right. Okay, Dan and Lisa. And you know, CK, I don't remember how CK's been sneaking up in here into the top 5, so that's pretty cool. All right. The more complete analysis of a real estate investment would include all of the following except a more complete analysis of a real estate investment would include all of the following except 6 more seconds. Okay.
Oh, that was a lucky guess.
Right.
Okay.
I had just got off the call with my seller too, and I was all,
All right, we'll see what it did to you. Okay. Boom, you're still in the lead, And okay, Zephyr comes into 2nd place with Marcus. We lost CK because Jesse's now in 5th place. Now, we're getting a good team will help your investor feel more comfortable. Yes or no? All right, here we go. Who came in faster? Okay, Dan, you're still in the lead. Jesse's in there. Lisa's staying in the top 5. Here it is. My business can grow faster if I help others achieve financial goals investing in real estate. All right, here we go. Rate of return quiz. Here it is. Okay, number 3, Marcus.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Zephyr. And number one, here we go. Big Dan Caldwell.
And woo.
All right, way to go, you guys. Way to go. Okay.
Why is my heart pumping? Like what?
Okay. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So here's the deal. An in-depth analysis of real estate actually includes more than what we're talking about. All we talked about there is what you had to learn to get your license. An in-depth analysis talks about the tax, analyzes the tax benefits. It goes not just 1 year, but it goes over a series of years. It analyzes the cash flows, both positive and negative. It takes into account that real estate appreciates over time. It takes into account the mortgage is being paid down. It takes into account that you can actually increase the value by fixing up the property. All of those go into an in-depth analysis that we call the internal rate of return. The internal rate of return. And so, you can get a free copy of this spreadsheet. You can see down here, just email holdworksheet@tctproperties.com, and it will automatically email you back a copy of the spreadsheet. This spreadsheet will help you. Here's the purchase terms, okay? Here's the operating budget, and then here's the return on investment. So hold worksheet at tctproperties.com. So Keller Williams put this together for us. So that we're able to use it with our clients. All right. So what does it include? Here's the purchase terms. What's the list price on the property? What's the fair market value? Am I going to get a discount on it? If I do, here it is. And by the way, this discount just might be your commission. Okay. Here's the percent down. Here's the calculation of what's my monthly payments. And then here's my cash flow. Here's my cash flow. I'm going to rent it for $1,500 a month. I'm going to make $17,000 a year. And notice here's my gross income. And I'm going to say I'm going to have a vacancy factor on it. So I'm going to subtract that out. And so here's my gross or my net rental income. Then here's my budget. How much am I paying for property management? How much am I paying to lease it out? Am I paying to lease it out? What about a maintenance reserve, utilities, property taxes, insurance, HOA fees? You plug all of those in. And now your total expenses are calculated. And so if you remember, net operating income is, here's my income minus my expenses. And so here's my NOI. So it calculates, if you paid all cash for it, here's my cap rate. But I didn't pay all cash, I have a mortgage on it. And so if I take my NOI, which is right here, I take my NOI and subtract off the mortgage payment, I'm now making $145 a month, okay? So with the $145 a month, then here's my cap rate, 5%. And let's assume that my expenses are going to increase 2% per year, but I'm also going to increase my rents 2% per year, and my property value is going to go up 4%. What happens in year 5? What happens in year 10? What happens in year 15? Let's just take a look at year 10, and I'm going to go down to the highlighted part. My cash on cash, ROI, all the cash that I've received back based on what I put in, 8.24%. My internal rate of return, my internal rate of return calculates what about the appreciation? What about the increased rents? What about the mortgage pay down? What if I calculate all of that in? Well, my property value has gone up to $370,000 in 10 years. My equity is now $220,000 in 10 years. My loan balance is paid down to $150,000. And if I were to sell it, so now it's sales price or value minus the mortgage minus closing costs, I would pocket $140,000. Well, that's going to give me 17% return on investment if I was to sell it during that period of time. And then the total annualized return. This is what your spreadsheet's going to show you. And now, in year 5, my IRR is higher if I sold it in year 5, and it starts going down a little bit. Why do you think that is?
Depreciation. Depreciation.
Good answer, but that's not right. The depreciation would figure my tax benefits into it, and that is included in here. But why else do you think the ROI went down?
Deferred maintenance?
No, look at my equity. My equity is going up. And so what's happening is I'm getting more and more equity in there, and that equity is still making money, but it's making it at a lower rate of return 10 years out, 15 years out than it did in year 5 because I have more equity in it. You follow me? Okay. ROI makes a huge difference. Let's assume you just took 15, and this is where you need to be educating your clients. This is part of the conversation you create around them. So let's say you put $30,000 and you invested it for 15 years, and you put the money in the bank. You put it in a CD, and the CD paid you 2%. 15 years later, your $30,000 would now be 40. Okay? Not great, but better than a sharp stick in the eye. Okay? What about if you put in the stocks and you made 8 to 10% historically in the stocks? You did better than average. Well, you'd be at $95,000. You would have tripled the money. What if you put it into real estate, our historic appreciation, and you got a 15% return on investment? Because remember, we just looked at this, and 15 years down the road, this investment's returning 15% per year. This year, this year, this year, this year, every year for 15 years. You'd have $244,000. The ROI makes a huge difference. Now, well, what about if it's just a little bit more? You go to 17%. Oh, wait a minute. Just 2% more in the ROI took me from 240 to 316, but it's only 2%. No, it's not only 2%. It's 2%. And so when you're looking at the ROI, you're going, wait a minute, how can I maximize it? And then if you got up to a 20% return on investment, which we absolutely can in a strong market, $462,000 for the same $30,000 that's invested. ROI makes a huge difference. Now I want to show you something. I want to show you the impact of the interest rates. And here's the same example that we just looked at. And we got a 4% interest rate when we first did that. And remember, in year 10, here was a 17% internal rate of return. Return on investment, assuming what? Assuming I sold it in year 10, paid all of my closing costs, and put $139,000 in my pocket. I'm making 17%. What if it's 5%? If I was at a 5% interest rate for the same 7 years, I'm now down to a 15% return on investment. Oh, but it's only 2%, Steve. No, it's 2%. Okay, let's say it's 6% interest rate. I'm now down to a 13% return on investment. The opportunity for an investor to get in today and grab today's interest rates at a 30-year fixed rate is the biggest opportunity, because they're afraid, they think the property value, oh, the property value is going to go up. Who cares? It's going to go down. Who cares? The question is, am I making a positive cash flow on my investment? And if it goes down, I'm not selling. If it goes up, I'm not selling, because I'm making a good return on my investment. And if I can make a better return, then I'll sell and get a better return. But otherwise, I'm holding the investment. Are we making sense? You can get everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And here's the deal. You don't have to be great at something in order to get started, but you have to start to be great at something. So what I want you to do is I want you to download that spreadsheet, and I want you to start analyzing every single listing that you take with that spreadsheet. I want you to analyze every single listing that comes into the market center with that spreadsheet. And you start sending them out and saying, hey, I've got an investment here that makes 17%. Would you like to get out of the stock market? And you start sending these out to the people that your mind share with them right now is, oh, well, you know, Dan's going to help me buy a house or sell a house. And no, Dan's going to help my family create financial security. And where a vehicle is going to be with real estate. Because 9 out of 10 people are interested, 8 out of 10 people believe it's the best legacy, and 8 out of 10 grandparents would buy one for their grandchildren before they buy it for their own children. Your clients, your friends, and your family, they need you to be more. They need you to put that team together. They need you to be working on this by creating more business. And remember, 2 for 1 and 12, this is part of the strategy. For every one closing, I get 2 more in a 12-month period of time. Why? Because I'm helping others build wealth. Make it part of your business plan. Use the competitive advantages that Keller Williams has already provided for you. Don't ignore them, use them. Leverage them. Put investor seminars, and by the way, I don't know, is David on the call? We talked about this. So investor seminars. One of the things that I do is I typically do an evening one, but let me stop here. Monitor the number of investor deals that you're doing. An average sales price of $250,000, one a month, makes you an extra 90 grand this year. 90 grand buys you an investment property or 2 this year. Just do 1, okay? But start measuring them. What if you did 1.5? What if you did 1 3/4? What if you did 2? Start measuring them as part of your business plan, and then you measure it. So how do we get there? You measure the investor conversations and the number of offers you've made. But it's hard to buy. Okay, I want to stop just a second with that. Most investors think you need to get them a really good deal on a property or they're not going to do it. Can you buy a property below listed price right now if it's listed right?
No.
No. The goal is, and so how many multiple offers? Give me the worst horror story for multiple offers in your office.
19 on one of mine.
32.
How many?
32.
32 offers, 19 offers. Here's the key. Why did 19 people offer? Why did 32 people offer? Because that's the house they wanted. Only 1 got it, and 31 walked away. Only 1 got it, and 18 walked away. The goal for your investor is to be the one that got it. The goal for your buyer is to be the one that got it, not to have the money. I'm not going into a bidding war. You're not going to get it. You got to acquire the asset with the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. You got to change that mindset that you're going to get a discount, and that's why it's going to be a good deal for you. You're going to get today's interest rates, lock them in for 30 years, lock in the rental for 30 years. That's the value proposition today, not buying it cheap. You buy it cheap, you're going to buy a substandard property. The goal is to win the competitive bidding, not to shy away from it.
Right. I mean, it's about the cap rate. It's not about the price of the house.
Correct. Correct.
All in the numbers.
Yep. And so you have to create that conversation around them, because their thinking is, I'm not getting into a bidding war. I'm not paying more than appraisal for a property. I'm not going to, and then they're the 18 people that walk away with the 1 person that gets the house that 19 people wanted. And we allow them to think that way. We need to be their trusted advisor, helping them think differently. Okay, so we talked about this. As soon as we can get together down there, I'm going to come down and do a seminar. We'll do it in Tucson, and it'll be in the evening. And I want you to invite your clients, all of them. Not just the client, invite the kids, invite the grandparents. This is a multi-generational solution. Bring the family units together so that they can have the conversation of, what does multi-generational wealth look like? How does grandpa and grandma help their kids provide college for their grandkids? What do they need to do? I'm going to tell you that most of your clients will walk away from this thing going, can you help me do this? Can you help me do this? So I want to encourage you, don't tell me you're bringing 1. Don't tell me you're bringing 2. Don't tell me you're bringing your husband or your wife. Bring as many people as you possibly can, because we are going to help you do more business right off the bat and create a database that's big with people that want to do investing. And we're going to do it as soon as it's possible for us to do it with the COVID situation. We're already doing it here in Phoenix. We had 70 at our last one. I only know of 7 transactions that happened out of it, but the 70 included family units. So we'll make that happen next. All right, so I'm done. What are your takeaways? And everybody's got to share at least one because we've already had half the audience bail out.
This is, well, it's a flat out eye opener, but I will say this is probably the most concise, well-constructed presentation I've seen in years of any
Thank you
kind.
for that.
To the point, easy to follow, easy to understand, impressive to say the least.
All right, well, thank you for that. So what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, that's the next question. What are you going to do with it? Yeah, I'm going to work with it. I actually already have someone who is ready to start buying some houses, and this is going to go right to them as my first one.
Cool, cool. Get as many as you can.
Yeah,
Get together with the people. So I'm going to take your aha, get together, create a group in your market center that are focused on the first thing, change your GPS. Number 2, change your 411 so that your activities match your goals. And then create the smart plans inside of Command so that you're educating your client using the smart plans without having to have the conversations, so that you leverage time and you leverage the tools to create the activities.
Teresa's got something, got a hand up.
Awesome.
Hey, Steve, this was just very insightful, and it's right at the perfect timing. I just met with my first investor yesterday. I'm working on a deal on my second investor today.
Oh, good.
And I'm very excited for this, and thank you. I just absorbed everything, and I'm gonna look at this video again. I'm sure they're gonna post it, and I'm getting the worksheet, and I'm definitely getting the book, all the books. So,
I'm going to tell you, you know, I had just a quick, how much time do we have, Kayla?
Much as you need.
As much as you need, Steve.
Okay, so I had I had a client, a couple, and they owned some land in South Dakota and had been in the family since the 1860s. And the price of land was going up like crazy, and the guy who was renting it, doing crop rents with them, was paying him $18,000 a year, but he made him an offer on the property, and they had never seen prices like that before. And so they said, well, I think we're going to sell it. What can we do? And they were talking to their financial advisor, who then referred them to me. And we took the property, or they made the sale, and we put them into 3 properties, which are making $36,000 a year in positive cash flow instead of 18. And they were able to distribute it to their 3 kids more easily inside. But guess what happened? The kids are going, Mom and Dad are in Arizona. They're selling the land that's been in the Pratt family since 18. What in the world did they, what? And so when I sent them the spreadsheet, and we got them all on conference call, and we said, we're not going to buy anything without you guys analyzing the spreadsheet, take it to the CPA, take it to the financial advisor, and if you guys say okay, then we'll buy that house. Now the whole family came in, and instead of worrying about what in the world are Mom and Dad doing, hey, Mom and Dad are doing something awesome. The $18,000 a year that they used for the crop rents, they took the family on vacation every year. The $36,000 a year that they got out of the rents now made the family vacations even better. So use the spreadsheet. Okay, other ahas.
thank you very much.
Melissa Holt had said it's been very easy to understand as a relatively new agent, and have been one of the younger generations who mistakenly think I can't achieve wealth.
Isn't that interesting? Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so just change the wording. Don't talk about building wealth. Talk about building financial security or financial freedom. Ask, if she's still on, ask her if those words resonate better.
Yeah, Melissa, go. Melissa, step up. Go ahead and jump in.
Kayla, how do those words
You said
resonate?
say it
for you?
again, sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you repeat the question to her?
Yeah. Which words resonate better with you? Building wealth, building financial security, or building financial independence? Okay, we'll see.
She said
Who else?
financial security and independence.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So remember, when you're creating the conversation around the people, the words you use are important. All right, any other takeaways? Big Dan, you won the thing. Bring it on. What's your takeaway on this?
He's on the phone.
Yeah, I see that now.
My takeaway is that clearly my calendar's do not disturb ended at 12:30. So one big takeaway I take from this is the ease it is to change the mindset of not being able to and showing a roadmap on how to be able to. Part of my GPS now is that I want to own a rental property by the end of this year. And it was one of those, I didn't know how to get there. And the last 2 weeks, it had been so much eye-opening in situations like this where I can sit down and go over something. And it takes it from the mindset of I need to buy it under market to be realizing a cash flow, or I need to buy a steal of a deal to get somewhere. Changes completely all of that. Even if it's, you know, $100,000 property, I put 20% down and don't make cash flow on forever, it still yields 8% in the long run.
Yeah, cool, cool. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate you violating your do not disturb. So I totally get it. Okay, anybody else? All right. Well,
Can you repeat the quote that you said about interest rate is what? Like when you're trying to explain to them that we don't have to buy it under market price because interest rate is
it's the lowest it's ever been. And the goal here.
No, I mean there was you said it was like the goal or the
right.
cap.
The goal is
something.
to get.
Anyway, I'll rewatch it.
Okay, the goal is to lock up as much of this low interest 30-year fixed rate money as you can before it goes up. It is the biggest expense you're going to have in the property. Lock in the low rate. The goal is not to get the cheap price. It's to get the property that has a positive cash flow and lock in the 30-year fixed rate.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for letting me clarify. All right, you guys. Well, I appreciate your time. Appreciate being able to do this.
I got one question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you lean more towards single family or multifamily?
I lean more towards single family because we don't have a lot of multifamily here. We haven't zoned for it in a long time. And the single family is more liquid. So there's reasons to go multifamily. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying it's easier to refinance it. It's easier to sell one if you need to sell one. The multifamily goes up based on the increase in the rents. The single family goes up based on the demand in the market. And so lots of the multifamily are low income, and the amount of increase in rents that you can actually accomplish is limited based on their incomes. So for all of those reasons, in our area, in the Phoenix area, that's why I lean towards, but in the East, back East, multifamily is doing really, really well because there's all kinds of it.
Steve, are you still in the process of acquiring properties, rental properties?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it all.
Are you in the process of acquiring properties at this point?
Yes, I'm moving out of the stock market and acquiring real estate with positive cash flows. It's almost as easy as falling off a log to get a 5 or 6% cap rate on any property that you point your finger at right now. And if that's what the stock market's going to do for me, then any appreciation I get on real estate is a bonus.
It also happens to be very visionary because we don't know what's going to happen with the economy in the ensuing election and thereafter. So you're really securing your position. And I think that's what I like most about this.
Cool. Thank you.
And I'll ask one more question. Are the slides, or at least the content behind those slides, is that all in the hold book?
No, I've created all of this since we wrote the book. This is just me.
Okay. Well, nicely done.
Thanks.
Steve, could we get a copy of your slides?
Well, so I think this is all recorded. So
Okay.
whatever slide makes sense for you, you can go ahead and just copy it off the screen, because I change them all the time.
Okay.
And I teach this all over the country. So I try to keep myself, but go ahead and steal what you got to steal. No problem.
Thank you.
Got to do the work to steal it.
I have never hit the screenshot button so many times in one session than this one.
I actually got up in the middle of the recording and walked into Kayla's office. I was like, is this being recorded on our end or on his?
No, I think it's on your end. I hope anyway.
Yeah, so it'll definitely be uploaded as soon as we can get it out of the cloud, put up into YouTube. That's why it's important for you guys to be subscribed to our YouTube channel so you can get those updates when they go up there. But it'll definitely be there later on.
I want to challenge you too. I went to Anchorage and we did this, and the agents. So we did this one during the day, and then the evening they brought their people. Their mortgage company bought a book for the clients. We highlighted the mortgage company, and so the clients are going over to the lender and going, can you help me refinance? Can you help me with reverse mortgage? Can you help me with, as we came up with strategies for them to do this. And they were ecstatic to have bought boxes of books to give away to your clients. And, but they brought so many people in, we had to move the presentation to the University Theater. One guy did 25 deals out of it.
Wow.
So I just want to encourage you. We're going to make this happen in Tucson, and so I want to encourage you. Bring your people.
Hey, Kayla, I think everyone should unmute and give a Keller Williams Southern Arizona applause for Steve in this excellent program.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Awesome.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a great weekend. Be safe.
Thank you.
Mega camp starts next week.